This is a March 2010 update on what we've added to the property for the last year or so. There's a hill between the guest house and the road, so we added some retaining walls so Judy can make a rock garden, and also we put a staircase up the side to make it easier to get up and down.
It's July 14, 2009. The guys have been working on the second wall here at the base of the hill for the past week or two. And within the last few days, they completed the sidewalk, which goes here in front of us. That's a section of the wall. This is probably pretty boring. And down to the end, and then the escalera, or the steps that go up the hill, they're now getting ready to put what they call enlucido on the side of those to do some finish work on those columnas, the columns that extended to the air there. We decided on a handrail there instead of putting a wall in, which made it feel too narrow and closed in. The rest of this is not new. Just thought I'd give you a swing around here.
Next, we tore down and dug out the footings for the existing chain link fence, and then added new footings for a brick and concrete fence in the front.
Yanni is doing the cleaning off process here to the wall. English para mi familia en Estados Unidos. Sí. This is the part of the wall they started on first, and it's pretty much complete. I mean, we don't have doors yet. There goes a bus. And, of course, the new gate's not finished. This is what they've been working on the last week or two.
At this point, this is what the wall looks like. We still need to add the gates, which we'll take care of when we get back from the U.S. There was a crew making improvements to the road outside our property. They stopped what they were doing to add this concrete apron up to our gate, using all city employees and materials, and we were happy to pay them $120 under the table. We needed more fill to make sure we had proper drainage for the rainy season, so we brought in 79 dump trucks worth of fill at $8 a load. And that included the use of this payloader to spread things around. After the payloader did its thing, we paid our friends at the city crew $50, and they brought in transits and this bobcat, and more accurately measured the angle that we needed for proper drainage, and then leveled everything out. Of course, now our bodega was about 1 meter below grade, so we had to dig it out, and then we built a new one that's a little bit bigger. This is the tallerita, the little taller, the little workshop where stuff gets done, and this door right here is the storage room, and then half of it is also Francisco's living quarters. This is what's left of the 20,000 bricks that we bought before we started building the guest house. So hopefully there'll be enough to do the main house as well. To protect them from the sun, Carlo and Johnny made these sombreros out of empty cement bags. This is our very close friend Alfredo, who we bought our property from and who is now our neighbor. Alfredo is doing some building in the background. These are going to be cabañas that go over the water. 2 stories. He's got 2 of them going on. This wall is actually the first part of the house that we've constructed so far. This will be where Judy's bathroom is. Well, mine also, but her bathroom, so the horses can't watch her take a bath. And then the lower part will be where our porch is. And then everything overlooking the river. This is our view toward Alfredo's. You can see our boat's still here, along with another one, and in the background is Bahia. In order to put the roof on the Taller, we first had to buy a bunch of wood, which needed to be further sanded and cut, and then it was treated against insects and spray painted with 4 coats of varnish. The air compressor we bought is gas engine driven, which lets us use it anywhere. In fact, I've already painted one yacht in the water, and I'm sure I'll be doing more of that kind of thing. After the beams and ceilings were finished and dried, they were assembled to the concrete walls and columns in the Taller. Finally, the roof tiles were painted on both sides and then fastened to the beams.
David's Taller, or garage as you know it. And it has been covered now with cemento blanco. That's that white that you see on it. And it will be painted while we're gone.
This is the baño in the garage, or the Taller. Right now it's being used by Francisco. We had this finished several months ago so he could use it. You can see his underwear hanging there in the shower. And it's complete with all the necessary conveniences. This will be the workshop area. I've got a deep sink and plenty of outlets for power. And eventually I'll finish this workbench. Right now we're storing a lot of material in here. These pieces of metal are going to be the gates for the front. And when we get back, we'll have the guys finish painting the inside. This is the ceiling. It's very similar to what we did in the guest house. We still need to put light fixtures and fans and stuff up there too. The guys did a pretty nice job finishing the wood. It's all nice and shiny. We're going to try to keep it that way. And once it's painted, I think it'll look a lot better in here. And this is my latest acquisition, my Chinese Harley Davidson.
Cecil loves to explore this. This is my friend coming to see if I brought any carrots out. Hi there, no zanahorias. No pronto. This is the chief who's just been allowed to roam free here recently.
This is a juvenile iguana, a little bit less than a foot long. And this is a bigger one. They get to be about 4 feet long here. They dig burrows where they lay their eggs, although they primarily hang out in the tops of trees, except of course when they're down on the ground eating Judy's flowers. Cecil can catch them, and she mostly plays with them, and they generally get away, but not always. This is Cecil's doghouse. We had this custom built for her so she wouldn't get too jealous. She's a very happy girl. Cecil! Cecil! Jack! On the entertainment side of things, we now have a direct internet connection via Wi-Fi. Not sure this qualifies as entertainment, but this is Judy's birthday present, a treadmill. And I guess it's also her anniversary present, and Christmas and Valentine's Day, etc. It seems like someone's always having a birthday. This is Francisco, our caretaker, and his family. And this is a bunch of primarily gringo cruisers. We get together every Friday night with 2 or 3 or 20 for dinner.
Come around and get them from the front.
Judy went to one of our friend's daughter's school for a presentation where each class put on displays of art, and they also did some dancing. This past July 4th, we had a traditional Independence Day celebration, and also to celebrate the second year anniversary of when we actually bought the property. One of the things we did for the kids, but the adults had just as much fun, was to have a piñata. The kids had no problem outsmarting me and finally got their reward. This was a potluck, so everybody brought a dish to share, and we furnished the beverages and, of course, the hamburgers and hot dogs. Roasting marshmallows is something new for the Ecuadorian kids, so they picked it up right away and dropped most of them into the fire and burned them just like we used to do. Of course, not everything happens at our place. We also go to visit friends at their homes as well. We've also been very fortunate to get some international travelers here in Ecuador from time to time.
This is Huacho and family and Francisco's family. All were here for my birthday. Ciao! Ciao!
We thought you might enjoy seeing the machine that we used to squeeze our orange juice. For my birthday, Judy made 2 cakes, one of which was a traditional German Schaumtorte, which we enjoyed with our shrimp etouffee. Here's Judy's kitchen and our dining area, our living area with entertainment center. This is our bedroom, the wall of the bedroom with some storage. We had this broom closet made to fit snugly underneath the stairs, and these are the stairs that go up to the loft. This is your bedroom when you come to visit us. And we have extra storage up here and a rogues gallery. The view from the loft down into the kitchen dining room. This is the banyo, and the shower.
Gina, I thought you'd enjoy seeing this. I couldn't find a shower curtain I liked, but we have lots of great fabric at the Monday morning market, so I bought this interesting fabric and made my own.
Everything that you see here, all the wood, everything made out of wood, was all built by hand. It all started out with pieces of wood the size of railroad ties, and then we had everything, the chairs, the tables, the doors, the windows, everything, all made to order. We stumbled across a custom glass shop in Manta that used our designs to make this tabletop for the dining room, and also this coffee table design from sketches that we did for our boat. The frosted glass design of the hummingbird was one of theirs from stock. They made this mirror to Judy's size and design specification and then added the frosted border around it. They did all these pieces for us, including the glass, for under $120.
Okay, this is a first for Judy. This is Francisco. We're harvesting peanuts. Mani. And here we have a whole bunch in the glass, and we're going to lay them out someplace in the sun to dry. Hola, Francisco.
Hola, patrona.
This is our papaya plant. We hope this one is a female. The last one was a male, which doesn't bear fruit, so we had to cut it down. And over here, these bush-like things are yucca. It's a root that grows in the ground, and they're used for making bread here, and also in soup. Very tasty. This is Judy's starting table, where she gets stuff growing from seeds. It's also a good place for iguanas and the dog. Oh yeah, we got some corn going, probably some peanuts.
These are an Ecuadorian pepper.
Peppers?
Well, these are jalapenos.
All right. This plant is called a malo yerba, a bad mother, because it sort of tosses the seeds out around it, and the children grow up and they just can cover the whole ground. And it's on its way to try to take over this tree right now. These we've got planted in at least 5 locations. They'll be flowering trees. Tall. It would have been impossible to bring Judy's grandfather's rocker to Ecuador. So when we were in California, we took pictures and measured it and did some patterns. And then we had Ecuadorian craftsmen build an exact replica of it. And Francisco here sanded it and sprayed the varnish on it.
Well, this is my new swing on the front porch. I thought that especially those of you in the Fry family would get a kick out of seeing this. This is the exact replica of Grandpa Fry's rocking chair that we had made here. This is Cisa. She came over to help me film this morning. And I want to show Don some of the plants that I have right here on the front porch. Don't move too fast here. This is an anthurium right in front of us. That was Cisa's nose in the film. There she goes off in the background. We have some little tea roses right here. And this plant, I'm not sure, Don, you can probably tell me the name of this, but the leaf or the foliage on it looks very much like the African violet. This great big one here is in the cactus family. And right now this morning, I'll have to come back yet another day because there's no blossoms on it, but it usually has absolutely gorgeous little red flowers. They don't last very long, but there's a lot of them bloom. This plant, I don't know if you can get any relationship to the size, Don, but 2 months ago, before the rainy season started, it was about half that size. And this is an ornamental ginger, a new one that we've just started. So even though it's small, it has one little ginger on there. This is one of my favorite. It flocks into a great big clutter of flowers. But Cisa came and decided to make it her bed and smashed the entire bed here. So it's just now coming back. This is a hibiscus and this is a variegated one, and the new foliage going up the wall here, which is about as tall as I am, hasn't turned to the variegated white on the leaves yet, but it's always in bloom, and it loves this location. Another anthurium, Don. This one red. This is out on the little wall that surrounds the front of our yard. This is a very unusual plant. I thought you'd get a kick out of it. Again, in a few months it's been planted. Maybe it's more than a few. Maybe this is closer to 6 months. And all the leaves there are edged in pink. It's about as tall as I am now. This is one of the palms in the front yard. It's taking a nice growing time now, but a couple years that'll be very tall. Some of the tropical plants. This one you will recognize as a rose. Little guys. Some morning glories on the wall there. This is my front yard. We've got patches that we need to fill in yet. This is a flowering ground cover. This guy's looking good. And over here is my fan palm. See that great big leaf in the center? This palm right now is probably, it's not as tall as the roof, but not far because of the angle. It makes it look like it is. And that leaf in the center just popped out like a week ago. I couldn't believe how big it was. This palm has now, in the last 2 months, come up, so it's about as tall as I am. That's another hibiscus back on the wall there without blossoms right now. That one's a yellow one. And going around the wall this direction, oh, there's another hibiscus. This one is with big orangey, reddish blossoms. Behind it is the hill where we've landscaped into a cactus garden. We'll go up there after a while. Ooh, another rose done. My roses are starting to do very nicely. I'm walking through my ground cover right now. And these plants here, they're probably a good 4 feet tall now. That one's even a little taller. This is one of my cactus that's been in the ground probably a year. It's at least 4 feet now. And the last, or the top foot, here comes my dog again, on that one too, has just happened in the last month.
Here we have a poinsettia pretty much in full bloom.
Remember the beautiful poinsettia I took the picture of? Well, that's what the iguanas did to it. I'm afraid I'm going to have to take it away from this wall and get it into a pot. The plant's still alive, just no flowers left on it. I'll probably put it on the porch until it's healthy and a lot bigger. In the cactus family, got my treadmill on the front porch in the background. That you'll recognize as a geranium. Decided not to have a bloom on it this morning. These are just about to bloom. I think this one is a red one, while this one is a yellow. It has a blossom right at the top ready to come out. We'll come back out in a couple of days and look at that one. Just some impatience. This little guy was probably a foot high when we put it in the ground. It's now 4 feet high. That's in 6 months. This marigold I thought you'd really get a kick out of. I should be standing next to it. It's as tall as my shoulder, and it's a marigold done. It's a close-up on that cactus I was telling you about. That last top foot that's a lighter green is all the new growth. And looking on down, this is up our first level, and then around towards the cactus garden. As you can see, that one up there is in full bloom. Close up on my other cactus I was telling you about. And this is an interesting little plant. It was a tiny little thing in a 6-inch wide flower pot when I brought it home. We've just started putting some plants in boxes up in the trees here. I'll go to those in a moment. This is on the wall. It's a type of cacti family, and some of this isn't going to show up very well. These are still small, but they've probably gone 10 times the size they were when I brought them home in little tiny Dixie cups. This guy is 2, maybe 3 feet wide. Another of the cacti. Little unusual guy here. I thought you'd like to see him. This will get to be the size of a a shrub in the States. So they probably are about 3 feet high and almost the same wide, maybe 2.5 to 3 feet wide. This is one of those that's in bloom right now. One of the boxes that's setting in a tree, that's those marigolds in the background. And down below it, coming up the tree, there's some morning glories. These little guys we just set in like a week ago. This one will have an orange flower on it, starting to come back out. It's coming out of its shock now. This is a sister to the one you just looked at, but with a pink flower. It is minute. It is tiny. Literally just got this one. This is a flowering cactus. If you can see the little yellow blossoms on there. Another of my cactus. My bougainvilleas I can't really show you right now. We just moved them back on the new front wall and they've gone into shock. So I'll switch over there, but they're pretty sad right now. This is one of them. They kind of usually stop blooming as well in the rainy season, although they do have blooms on them. Some colors especially all year round. They don't bloom as much in the rainy season. This one's going to make it okay. The other two are looking pretty dormant right now. This is a bougainvillea. And it was not one that was moved. This one's been here for a while. And with new growth going everywhere with this rainy season. But as I told you, no blossoms on it here during the rainy season. This is part of that front wall. You couldn't hear me. My new, just installed, and Cece's going to help show it, grape arbor. These are, I think, red, Rojo grapes that we have in now, which I would rather have some, have some verde. So perhaps when we come back, we'll get more. It's liking its new home here. Oops, truck just went by on the road, so you probably couldn't hear me. I'm up on the top of the hill at the grape arbor, and this is looking down the hill across our property to where our main house will be built out there by the river. If you go over this way, you can see the corner of the house that we're now living in, which will become our guest house. And this little building down here is our custodial cottage for Francisco. This is the side fence that we put in, along with a gutter down there that runs the full length of the property to help with any runoff during the rainy season. This guy will be in full bloom very soon. A lot of these flowering trees have doubled in size in the last 2 months. This one's probably about 3 feet high now. And he's up here on the top of the hill near the grapes. Again, this is looking from the top of the hill down across the cactus garden to the guest house, which is where we live now. That on the front porch is my treadmill. It's covered up, but I did use it this morning. And here's my helper on this tour. Cece, say something to the nice people. Yeah. Oh, a yawn? Are you bored with all this? Hey, let's go, girl. Now I'm walking down the driveway, looking across the rock garden. That's the wall that will be painted while we're gone this time. There's my helper again. Francisco's using this area right at the front of his house and the little bodega, little storage area, to start a lot of the plants. And the dogs, we were babysitting a friend's dog this last week, and between Cece and the little pup, they destroyed 2 of my flower beds. Well, he had more things to transplant, the same flowers. So he's got the flower beds all under repair. This is more of the area where he's getting plants started. That's a pretty viney plant. This is a clover, Dawn, a big red leaf. It gets little tiny flowers. I don't know if you can see these little flowers on there. This one should, I guess, get in the ground. It is getting gigantic. Got one bad leaf on it there that needs to come off. We're looking over towards Cyanenda. No horses over here this morning. This is my fig tree. We've got it in a little wire enclosure because the iguanas love to eat this. And it's right beside where I have 3 banana trees in here. They're doing well now too. Down there on the end, that one's a magnolia. I'll go there shortly. This is a pretty little flowering tree. Only been in the ground a couple months. The banana, and between these 2 bananas is a little papaya coming up. He's just itty bitty. He's just probably 18 inches tall now. But another banana. And then here is the magnolia. No blossoms right now. This has gone from a little tiny pot on my front porch to something that's now probably between 3 and 4 feet high.
Okay, so we've got Bahia on this side of us, and then looks like behind door number 2 there is Alfredo. The river, these hills right here, the first one is where our friends Lars and Lona are building their house. And then sweeping around here, we've got plenty of trees that are hiding the guest house and the little hills in the back.